Hi guys, I came on a little early to try to get the bugs worked out. Not even positive it's working, but you know how that is. It's always like this, isn't it? When I'm trying to do this, it always seems to be a hiccup in the beginning. So says we're live. So howdy, getting the bugs worked out on my screen here, so as soon as I do that, then we'll be good to go. And I just need to be able to see your here we go, live streaming. I just need to be able to see chat, so I'm trying to get that taken care of. And it doesn't want to flip for me. There we go. Streaming now. Ta-da! Okay, so the camera looks a little off center because I'm going to have to move it, and I've just got it kind of teetering there. So I'm just going to wait for people to come in, and then we'll get to go in there. I'm going to grab my coffee because I set it over by the Herbal Hutch, because that's where we'll be eventually, but I want some now. It is freezing in my room, so that's why I'm wearing a sweater. I'm cold, and my hair did not come out like I wanted it to today, so that's why it's in a little band. However, I did one of the readings from one of our winners this morning, and it was a really good reading. I loved it. It came out really well. Hey, Moss the Boss, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I was just saying I did one of the readings today from one of the winners, and it came out really well. I loved it. It was an honor to get to read them. I always feel blessed when I get to read someone because, you know, you're kind of delving into their personal business, so it's nice to get to do that. By the way, I love your live streams of gaming. My husband's a gamer, so it kind of takes me back to watching him play, I'm trying to think, Call of Duty. I used to watch him play that all the time, so he doesn't play that anymore, but it takes me back to watching him do that. So I enjoy it. I watch you do that sometimes, so. I lurk. I don't know enough about it to say much, so I just sit there and watch. But I enjoy it. I'm just waiting for people to come in, and then we'll get started. I just came on a little early because I was trying to work out the bugs of the... It always takes me a minute to get where I can see that I'm live, and it's my... I use OBS. I don't know if you know what that is. I don't even know. Something... I'm sure you know what it is because you're a gamer, so... I use OBS, and so it takes a minute to connect it with YouTube and all that good stuff, so it takes me a bit. So I wanted to be sure that I had all that worked out by the time that people came on, and then I have to, when we get ready to go to the cabinet, I'll have to move the camera and all kinds of good stuff, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But we'll get there, and we'll get it done. And I'll have to drag my little book out because I don't remember every single thing about every single herb, because there's so many of them. So it's going to be exciting, though. I'm excited. I can't wait. And then I'll be clear to pack them, and that's... So I'm at the same time as I'm excited about doing this, I'm not excited because then I'll have no more excuse not to pack them. This has kind of been my excuse that I wanted to go through them And now the Saturdays here that we're going through them, so now I got no excuse not to pack them. So here we are, dagnabbit. So I'll have to pack them now, but that's okay. It needs to be done. So here I sit, just dreading and being excited at the same time. But yeah, I did my reading this morning on one of my winners. I can't get a hold of Dark Prince Lucy, so if anybody knows Dark Prince Lucy or Lucci or Luki, I'm not sure how to pronounce that last part, but please, if you know that person, let them know they won the drawing and to come on. Hey Chris, welcome. Good to see you. We're going to go through an Herbal Hutch today and read off all the meanings and uses and so on and so forth. Well, not all of them, but a few of them, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. Oh, you don't use it, Moss. Yeah, I use it just because it's a simple program, and I'm really not very versed. But I had a subscriber who gifted me with a camera and explained it to me, and so it's easy to use, and I'm not technically savvy, so it works well. I could use my phone, but the quality isn't as good, so I go ahead and use the camera that I was gifted in the OBS system, and it works real well. And there's a mic on the camera, so I don't have to worry about an external and all that stuff, so it works really well. Although I've noticed on the last few videos that it's really loud. The background is really loud on the mic, so I'm thinking about getting an external mic at some point, not anytime soon, but at some point maybe. If this all works out really good. I'm 11 subscribers from having 100, and at 100 I have a giveaway I'm doing, so I'm excited about that. That's going to be really fun. I love giving. That's the funnest part about doing drawings and all that good stuff. So at 100 I get to give a big package away, and I showed in a previous video, I showed all the stuff going in it, but since then I've added to it, and I'm not going to show that stuff. I'm just going to let it be a surprise. So there's going to be extra stuff in it, so that's going to be fun. And I'll be excited when the person gets it. Hopefully they'll do an unboxing on video. That would be fun. That would be fun as hell, because then they'll get to show their excitement, you know, when they open it, and that would be nice. And I know someone, and I don't want to announce it because it's their surprise, but I know someone who's starting a channel, and I'm really excited about that. And Gypsy started doing more on her channel. She's going to start doing more. I don't know if you know who Gypsy is, Gypsy Lee Ravenwood. She started doing things on her channel. Yeah, Chris, that's going to be awesome. Where are you at, Chris? You too, Moss. I don't know where you're at either. But Gypsy's doing stuff on hers, and she just did a video about her ragdolls that she makes, and it was so cool. And I guess she's going to open an Etsy shop, which is exciting because I really want one of her ragdolls. I really want one. I need one. I told her on her chat, I need one of those dolls. They're so cool. And she makes them by hand, and she does a lot of other things too. She showed a wand she's making, and a wreath, and a few things that she's making. She uses driftwood. Oh, okay, you're in Washington, in the States. That's awesome. I have a son and a daughter, both in Washington. One is, they're both right now outside of Walla Walla. And my daughter is very soon moving to Spokane. So they're both in Washington. At the moment, they're in the same place, but my daughter is moving to Spokane very shortly. So I have family there as well. And then we're moving at the end of April or middle of May. We have not decided. We've extended that date a little bit. So anytime between the end of April to the middle of May, we're moving to Texas from California. So we have a big move ahead of us, and that's what the herbal show is about today. So I'm putting the herbs into baggies and back in the jars so that I can pack the jars. And so explaining them as we go. Kentucky, okay, cool, Moss. Kentucky, the bluegrass state. I listen to old country music. I'm old, and I grew up with country western music, and my daddy was a musician, so he sang a lot of country western music, old antique country western music. And I don't know if you know who Loretta Lynn is, but she had a song about Kentucky that I just love that song. Yeah, it is hot in Texas, but you can see the sweater I'm wearing because I freeze to death all the time. I'm so cold all the time. I have a thyroid disorder, so I am actually looking forward to the humidity and the heat in Texas. I am anxious to get there for that. And I'm sorry, but it's in the Gulf where we're going. We're going to eastern Texas down in the Gulf, and the water is like 87 degrees. I can't wait for that. So I'm looking forward to Texas, quite forward to it. Plus, I have a friend who lives in Oklahoma that I'm going to get to hug very soon, so I'm excited about that. Jen the Taxidermy Witch, I don't know if you know who she is, but if you don't, you need to check out her channel. She is moving to Texas very soon, so I'm going to get to hug her because she's also moving to the eastern area of Texas. So we'll be about an hour and a half away from one another, an hour to an hour and a half away from one another. So we'll get to see each other. Hopefully I'll get to meet Sunshine Morning Ray. She lives in San Antonio, which is not far. I think it's like 2.5 or 3 hours. Oh, you lived in Austin. That's awesome. Okay, and there's another thing. My husband is well, not just my husband, myself, Stevie Ray fans, and there's a statue there. And so we're gonna kind of make a side trip on the way in so that he can take a picture. Well, we can take pictures by the statue. So that's going to be cool. But I have some things to look forward to about being in Texas. Not just that, I've been studying up on sea witchcraft. So I'm kind of excited about that too, because I'll be able to do a little more. I can incorporate some new things into my dog is trying to get into my crafts, so that'll be exciting. Give me just a sec. Rosie, are you trying to get in? Oh, did you want to eat, big girl? Rosie's often in here when I do videos, so she feels left out, I guess, when I don't let her in, so I forgot her today. Oh, so let's see, it's almost a little after 3. I'm just going to wait just a little longer because I know of 4 people that really want to be here and said they might be a little late, so I'm just going to wait a little longer if that's okay with everybody to get started. I know four people in particular that want to be here with notebooks, so I just want to give them a little time to get in before we actually get going on the herbs. I don't want them to miss anything. Okay? And yeah, so Texas is going to be fun. And you lost, oh, thank you. You lost your dog? I'm so sorry to hear that. I can't imagine, because I know what that's like. We just lost one a little bit ago. My daughter had a little Chihuahua, and He was 15 and very ill, so we had to have him put to sleep, and it was extremely hard. Extremely hard. It's very hard to lose a family pet. And Rosie's getting old. She's almost 11, so she's getting old, and it's my fault. I always adopt older dogs because I always feel bad for them. Nobody really wants them. And Rosie was a kennel dog. She was a puppy mill dog. So she's a mama. And she had a lot of litters. And then she got too old to have litters. So of course they were done with her. And so we adopted her. She was 8 or 9. No, she was 8. She was 8 when we adopted her. So she's 10. Yeah, she's going on 11. And so I always end up adopting older dogs, so I lose a lot. Oh, I'm so sorry, Chris. That's got to be even harder because you really depend on them. So are you getting another one, or have you gotten another one? That's difficult when you really depend on them for so much. Oh, bless your heart. Hi, Charlie. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. We're just waiting a little bit longer to get going because I got 4 people that want to be here with notebooks, and I know they're coming, and they said they'd be just a little late. So we're trying to wait for them. So just waiting a little bit longer. Not yet. You haven't gotten one, Chris? Okay. Are you 2 subscribed to me? Because if you are, I'd like to write you down. There's Livin. I know she was one that wanted to be here. Hi, Livin. Welcome, welcome. I waited for you. I'm waiting for a couple others, too, that said they'd be a little late. If you guys are subscribed to me, I want to get your names written down because you're not showing in my subscription list, and I want to be sure you're entered in any drawings and such that we do. But yeah, losing a family pet is so difficult, and I can't imagine losing a service dog. Awesome, Livin. I knew you'd be here and ready to go. You are, Charlie. Okay, I want to be sure your name's in there. I got my handy dandy book out so I can be ready to get everybody in. Go make sure there, Chris. Just look down at the bottom of your screen and you'll know. And don't forget to hit my like button, guys. Yeah, it should be right under my feed there, whether it's red or not. So pulled out the laptop so I could keep up with the conversation and not waste time with fat fingering keys on the phone. I know exactly what you mean. I'll be honest, I was gonna do the live feed from my phone today because I'm gonna be over there by the cabinet, but then I thought I would have so much trouble. I have really bad eyesight when it comes to small. I even have trouble seeing the screen on my computer. And I thought I'm going to have a hell of a time keeping up with the text coming out, first of all. And second of all, the battery on my phone dies so quickly. Well, it's not really quickly, but I didn't know how long it would last with video. I've never done it live from my phone, so I didn't know how it would last, and I don't know how long this is going to take. So I stretched my cord, and I know that it'll reach now, and I did some testing on recording to see if my voice would be loud enough. So when we get ready to go, I'm just going to set it up on the back of my chair, and it's going to be rigged a little, but we're going to make it work. So we'll make it work. Well, I am guessing we probably should get going. I mean, we've only got 4, and I know there are more that want to be here. Maybe we'll give them just a few more minutes. It's only 10 after. Maybe another 10 minutes. Is that okay with you guys? Because I know Pat wants to be here, and I know there's a couple others that said they were going to be here, but they might be a little late. So yeah, being on your phone is hard when you're texting a lot. Of course, if you have text, speak to text, that's not too difficult. That's what I do on my phone. Hi Heather, you made it. I knew you were coming. Good to see you, Heather. I'm glad you made it. I know Pat is coming too, so I'm trying to wait on a few people. I'm glad that's okay with you, Levin. If it's okay with you, Heather, we're just going to wait a little longer because I know there's a couple of people who wanted to be here with their notebooks, and I just hate to get started and have them miss a few. There's a couple I'm going to skip just because I did videos on them, so I'll start with those anyway. Agrimony and Angelica. I'll start with those two, and that'll give them a little longer. But I figured I'd wait just a few more minutes, go grab me another cup of coffee, and then we'd get going. Yes, I'm so glad you watched that, Heather. You liked that Auralite, did you? Auralite is awesome. It's an awesome stone, and it's very powerful. You can feel that little piece I have, you can feel the energy coming off that stone so well. Okay, Livin, that sounds good. Go for it. I'm going to step out and get me some in a bit too, right before we get started. I love my coffee, ladies and gentlemen. I got to answer this text. That's my kiddo. See, I got my phone all set up to go live, and then I changed my mind. I have my dear friend who made me the mask that I showed on my art video. She was just so excited that I was so in love with that mask. Oh, here we go. We're getting them in now. They're coming. Dioptase? Am I saying it right? Dioptase. No, I don't know about it. I mean, I could look it up in one of my books. Wow. Dioptase. In Oklahoma. Now, I have a friend in Oklahoma. Maybe she could bring me a piece. So what are the qualities of it? What are the, or do you know the attributes? Because I'm always wanting stones. I don't care what they are. I'm a crystal healer. I have a BA in spiritual healing. I went to the Yogananda Institute. Well, I went there for 4 years to get my BA, and before it was Yogananda Institute, it was called the Reiki Blessing Academy, and then they incorporated in with Yogananda Institute. And so I got, my BA is actually from Yogananda Institute, but a lot of the classes I took were through the Reiki Blessings Academy. Yes, she's in Oklahoma. Yeah, she is. And she was just so excited that I am so in love with that mask. I guess she didn't realize how in love with that mask I am, but and the tree album. Love that art. But she was so excited that I featured it, and she offered to do a tutorial for my viewers. So I'm thinking, I wrote to her and I said maybe a live is in our future, because that would be awesome if we could do a live with her and me and her doing a tutorial, that would be just kick-ass. That would be cool. So we'll see how that works out, but that would be awesome, and she could teach everyone how to do it, because it according to her and how she explained it to me, it's extremely simple. It's just it just comes out so amazing. I can't believe how simple it is to come out so amazing, and I've always been going to do it myself, make a few myself, but I don't, so I don't have an excuse either. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Associated with Celtic goddess, which I don't know when I bought. I didn't know when I bought it, but I feel drawn to her also. Oh my gosh, that tree pour it's gorgeous. And she must have, she told me once, but I know it's over 100 of those pours. She took a picture of her wall, and she's just got tons of them, and they're gorgeous. I want them all. But of course you can't say, Jerry, send me all of your albums. Plus it costs an arm and a leg to ship them because they're heavy, you know. So that would be outrageous. But she's got a few that are just over the top. They're just gorgeous. And, well, she's got all of them are just over the top gorgeous. But a few that I would just die for. But she has tons of them, and like I said, I don't know if she sells them, and we were chatting earlier and I forgot to ask her if she'd be willing to sell them, but yeah, that tree one is gorgeous though. She is definitely an artist. She really is definitely an artist. She makes the most gorgeous wands, and she uses clay, so that she's got a wood piece and then she uses clay on them and makes these just beautiful pieces. They're just beautiful. Anyway, let me fill my coffee. When I get back, we'll get started on the herbs, and hopefully Patrick will make it, and there's a couple others. I don't remember everybody's name, but there's a couple others that wanted to bring notebooks, so hopefully they'll make it by the time we get started. So I'm going to run and fill my coffee, and I'll be right back. And Rosie's going to lay there writing away. Okay, I'm coming right back. Or not. Be right back. So it's been raining here in Southern California for weeks. And, okay, I'm going to be moving the camera around. So it's been raining here in sunny California for weeks. And it's irritating because I don't mind thunderstorms and lightning storms and that kind of thing, but I am not a fan of just constant rain. Okay, I'm going to move the camera. Trying to make it so it doesn't fall. I hope that's clear enough and not too much light from that window. Okay. Okay, and I hope you can hear me. I gotta get my meditation cushion out of here. Okay. Okay, I hope you can see me. Looks like you can. Although you can't see the... Let me see if I can't turn it just a bit. Okay. So these are all my little spoons and my these are little spoons, my scoops, my magical shears, and this is a little dropper that I use for my tinctures. I use a dropper I use a syringe rather than a dropper because I notice that I have to take more than just a drop or two, so I use that. And I'm just going to set that to the side so it's out of our way. And then, of course, my mortar and pestles. I have this one that I use for resins. As you can see, it's nice and gooey inside. And I don't wash my mortar and pestles. I actually like the magic that I put into them, so I wipe them. When I'm done with one, I'll make sure I'm finished doing it all, and then I wipe them, but I don't wash them. And I'm actually going to move this across the room so it's not in our way. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry, Livin'. We're just now getting started. I'm just moving stuff off the shelf so I can actually get to the herbs. And this is my big granite mortar and pestle. It is honkin' heavy, let me tell you. I can't lift it with one hand to lift it off the shelf. This is granite. It's I don't think you can see the sparkles on the handle. I don't know if it'll actually focus or not, but you can see the granite through the black if it's focusing. I can't tell because I'm too far away from the actual feed, but anyway, I'm gonna set that out of the way too. Oh Lord, that thing is heavy, and with my arm being the way it is. And this is my big rose quartz. I keep it on there to keep my I don't know if you can see the pink. It doesn't look like it. Anyway, I keep that on my shelf to keep my herbs full of love, so that anything I send out is full of love. And this is my little flashlight that I use to see the herbs that are in the back, because I have a lot of small jars on the bottom here, these little guys, and I can't see the back ones without the flashlight, so I use that. And this is it's a hunting knife, but I use it for my bowline. I do a lot of my cutting and all that good stuff with it, so it's a nice big bone handled sharp hunting knife that I use for my bowline. My daughter bought me that. She's such a sweetheart. And believe it or not, it wasn't all that expensive for being a bone handle. It's a beautiful handle. I love it. So I'm going to set that out of the way. And then this is a quartz. This is a beautiful sandstone. I'll show it to you. And this is selenite. Just a big chunk of selenite. This is a sandstone. It's got that little mark on it because I burn candles on here, my herbal candles, when I'm doing herb work. And this is just a quartz. Oops. Quartz point. So I keep all those stones there to keep my herbs nice and fluffy. And these are my herb candles that I burn on my, I don't know if I should take them out, but I think you can see them. These are all herb candles I made that I used to burn on the sandstone when I'm doing herbal spells and so on. I just keep that burning on the cabinet here. These are rose stems, and I probably won't put these in baggies because I don't think there's any way to really hurt them if the glass breaks, because they're just stems. They're easy to pull out. So I probably won't pack those in any baggies. So rose stems, of course, do the same thing roses do, except that you can make little wands out of them. You can use them for poppets, jar poppets. I don't know if you know about jar poppets. So let's talk a little bit about that. You can actually build a poppet in a jar. You can use sticks for arms, sticks for legs. You can use a witch's burr for a head. And a body, you can use a nut or a bean, depending on how big you're trying to make it. I'll show you a witch's burr in case you don't know what it is. Where's one? Here's one. And they come off a sweet gum tree. Some people call them sweet gum balls. I call them witch's burrs. You can do spells out of these by filling them with wax, covering them with wax, and making a wish. Covering them with wax as you make the wish. You, of course, mold the wax, so you want it lightly melted. You mold the wax, and you're putting your intentions into it as you mold it. And it's much like a sachet. You hang it. There's a lot of different spells you can do with witch's burrs. You can look them up. They're online all over the place. So rose stems, you can use them in love spells. You can use them in sachets. You can build poppets with them, like I said. And the poppets can be for love. They can be for dispelling love, like splitting love, ending love, bringing love. Anything you can use roses for, you can use rose stems for. You can make little wands out of them. So basically that's the gist of stems. And I have to go look at chat right quick. Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you about the rose quartz. Oh, I didn't know that about the Luna moth. They grow on a sweet gum tree. Yep, sweet gum trees. Okay, so again, I said I was going to start with Angelica and the agrimony because we had already discussed those, and I didn't want to get too far ahead before people got a chance to be in here. So we had talked about Angelica being a spell booster, and the other day I made that video about my motivation jar, and I forgot my Angelica, so after I was off camera I had to go back and put a couple of pieces of Angelica in. And remember, you only need to use literally a couple of pieces for a spell booster. It's a root, well, I use root form, and a couple of pieces of this will boost your spell. You don't need a lot. I order it by the quarter pound, and it literally lasts me almost a year. I want to be sure to get it all in there because I'll tell you, for those of you who weren't around, I had a dream that I packed my herbs in the glass and the glass broke. The glass jars broke and it ruined my herbs, and that was hundreds of dollars of ruined herbs. So that is why we are on here today packing my herbs in plastic bags and putting them back in the jars. So that's the reason this is happening today. So that's what we're doing. And I'm doing I don't know if that's going to fit in one of these. Well, I think it will. So I'm doing the Angelica and the agrimony first because, in case you're interested, there's a video up. I think it's called Magical Herbs or Magic Herbs, about these two herbs that you can check out. So that's why I'm not really explaining them yet. I will tell you, agrimony is an amazing protection herb, and on top of that, it's one of those herbs that if you want to send a hex back, if you feel you've been hexed, which really doesn't happen as often as people think, but if you feel you've been hexed, it will not only remove a hex, but it will send the hex back. Many believe threefold to tenfold. It'll send the hex back to the person that sent it to you. Let's hope I can get these all back in the jars, because if not, we're going to have a whole new box of herbs. And then I'm going to have to label them. This may take a while. Oh, I suppose if I get the bag in there, it would help. Okay, you know what we're going to do? If my nails will let me, I have a good idea. I have some empty jars. So I will just put the agrimony in a different jar that I know it'll fit in. Take the 2 jars to the other area so I will know which herb is in here, and I'll relabel it. So we'll do that. I'll just set it over here for now. And that will work. Okay. So the next one is chili peppers, and I'm not going to bag this, and the reason is because they're very inexpensive and you can get them most any grocery store. And chili pepper flakes. These chili pepper flakes are good for enhancing a spell. They're great for speeding spells up. They're wonderful for love magic because they're spicy. They're good for banishing. They're good for any type of negative works. I don't like using the word negative, but I don't know how else to get it across. Dark magic is still not a word I like to use, but they're good for that. Let's see. Banishing negativity. They get things going. Like if you're in a hurry, not so much to speed a spell up, but if you're in a hurry to receive money, for instance, you're doing a prosperity spell, not necessarily to speed the spell up, but also that, but you need to receive the money by Friday. You want to add some chili flakes. If you're looking to not just spice things up in your love life, but like you're trying to find love that is a certain type of love. So you're trying to find love that is romantically inclined, but you also want love that is passionate. You want chili flakes. They do other things too. Let me just pull out the trusty book, because like I said, I can't remember every detail of every herb. So this is my apothecary book. This is where I keep all my notes. I do have the encyclopedia of Magical Herbs by Scott Cunningham, but I think I have it under red pepper flakes in here, but I use my own notes because I kind of do the gist of it, and it's a little easier for me to keep track. PQR. It's just a little easier for me to keep my own notes, and I guess it's going to take me forever. R-E. Red pepper flakes. Speed spells more rapidly than any other thing. So it'll speed your spell up quicker than any other thing you can add. Good for binding, cursing, hexing, love, lust, passion, money. Brings money. Sex magic, virility. So if someone has lost their drive, male or female, it helps with that. And increased libido. So not just your drive, but but say that you're not able to have relations. I'm trying to be very, I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, but say you're not able to have relations as often as you'd like. Your partner's just not into it as often as you'd like. Increased libido. They're good for destruction, chaos, mayhem, and motivation. I used it in my motivation jar because it brings a lot of motivation. It's a very strong motivation herb. So there's that for chili flakes. I need a place to set this so that I can, well, let's use this so that I can utilize it. So mandrake, one of my favorite herbs. I use a lot of mandrake because mandrake is a powerful protection, but it also enhances all magic. By enhancing magic, I mean that whatever magic you're using, it amplifies it. So again, like Angelica, which strengthens a spell, mandrake enhances it. So in a way, they do the same type of thing, but there's a difference in strengthening and enhancing. So you might look those up. But strengthening gives it power, and then mandrake enhances the power, gives it more of a boost, gives it more of a, you guys are probably talking and I'm missing it all, gives it more of a variety of a boost. It kind of covers all of it. Everything you put into the spell has been enhanced, whereas the Angelica just gives it a boost, if that makes any sense. So I always try to use a little bit of mandrake. I don't always use it because it is also a poisonous herb, so it can have some connotations you don't necessarily want depending on the magic you're doing. And that's just my own feeling. Please don't, and all of this is just my own feeling, so please don't necessarily go by what I say. Go by what you feel and by what the energy gives you. I'm going to drop my bag. By what the energy gives you and not necessarily by what I say. And I just want to tell you all too right quick, I use an herbal company. I know everyone talks about mountain rose herbs, but I want to tell you an herbal company I use. It's called Monterey Bay Spice Company. And I go through them because they're very inexpensive, and they only sell two measurings, so that might be why a lot of people don't go through them, but they sell by the quarter pound and the pound. The thing is, depending on the herbs, some of their quarter pounds are only $2 something. Mandrake is $8 for a quarter pound, $22 for a pound. It just seems silly to get a quarter pound for $8 when you can get an entire pound for $22. So I always get a pound, but like their mustard seed is, I don't know if this is going to work. Their mustard seed is like $1, $1.80 maybe. Oh, that's going to work. So you can't beat that, and I just wanted to recommend them. They're really a good place, and I'm going to go check chat. Because you might be asking me questions and I wouldn't even know it. You grow a lot of chili peppers. That's awesome. Hi, Lilac. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Very good to see you. And why is it not letting me scroll up? There we go. Sweet gum trees. Turn the device up and hit mute and watch so you don't have to run back and forth. Oh, really? Like my phone? Let Let me see if I can't do that. Because, man, that would be so much easier. Because this is not good. Let's see if I can't do that. How? Come on. Loading. Live now. Hit mute. Where's the mute? I'm looking for mute. Actually, just let me turn the volume down. That would work. Ta-da. That's okay. Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Living Out Loud. Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Yay, you don't have to be a fast typer. I don't know if there's lag on my phone or if that's how it's coming across, but I'm just now looking at my phone, whereas... Anyway, okay, yay. That's awesome. Okay, next is lavender bud. Lavender bud, love it. I wish everything smelled like lavender bud and coffee. It's so nice. I know just what you wanted to do was sit and watch me smell lavender bud. But you can't help it. It just smells so good. So lavender is good for calming. It's good for easing anxiety. It's good for sleeping, of course. Everybody always hears that. It's good for sleeping. They're great in dream pillows. And I think it's just because it's so calming and relaxing. It's great for baths. I use it in bath salt a lot. Let's see. Let's look. Because I don't remember everything, remember. I just had it and passed it. Lavender. That's the salt. Let's see. Sleep smells. Smelling can induce a long life. Good for any healing mixtures. I knew that and didn't mention it. In the old religion or old witchcraft, they believed that if you wore it with rosemary, it preserved a woman's chastity. I always like to write the old beliefs down. You can use it for smudging, and it brings in, so like if you use a smudge stick that is lavender and sage, so it's like Palo Santo where the sage takes out the negativity, the lavender brings in the positivity. Really good too. I don't know if you've ever used one, but they smell delicious together. So protection, purification, healing. Oh yeah, clairvoyance. It can help with spirit work. A lot of people don't know that, and I always try to mention, I always forget myself, but it helps with meditation. It helps with working with your divination, with your cards, your pendulums, your all that stuff. It helps very much with that. So if you make a loose incense with lavender and you burn it as you're meditating or burn it as you're working with your cards or your any divination that you work with, great stuff. Works very well for that. Psychic protection, cleansing, memory, and psychic development and retention, which we just talked about. So when I put this guy away, sit there, I actually have a big bag. Okay. Yeah, lavender is amazing. Don't blame you for getting yours to sniff. It's just delicious. Yeah, try it with your teenager. It really does work at you. It really does work with calming and relaxing. Oh, I have so many herbs down here in bags. Got to pull them all out because I didn't even think of that when I was putting some of these away. I might have agrimony in a bag down here that needs to go in. And I didn't think about that. Let's look and see. This is mandrake, mugwort, yarrow, and calendula. Okay, no agrimony. But this is my lavender bag, so I can put my lavender back in this bag. And this actually did not come from Monterey Bay Spice area. This was a gift. So this came from, I don't know where, because it was gifted to me. Oh, come on. Yeah, it was gifted. So I don't know exactly where it came from, but I was very happy to get it. Come on. Okay. And I love lavender, and I use lavender a lot, and I use a lot of lavender oil. And I use it for all kinds of workings. And for the longest time, when I first started doing herbs, so I got a kit, like Jen sells them. You can get them from Jen now, but I got them from a place called Lisa's Creations on Amazon, and it was okay. I mean, it was all right. I got like 70 herbs for, I don't remember how much, but it was too much. But Jen does it now. She does a starter kit where you get like 50 or 60 herbs from her for a starter kit for if you're wanting to get into herbal uses and practices and so on. She does a starter kit. Hey Zeth, welcome. Yes, there is. Rosemary. Rosemary is an everything herb. If you have no other herbs in the world, get rosemary, because rosemary will cover everything in herbal. Everything. It's that herb. And I don't know if too many people know that, but rosemary is the herb that will do everything that any other herb will do. And that's why it's a very popular herb. People grow rosemary because if you have no other herb, it will do it all. It'll heal, it'll protect, it will send out, it will bring to, it will do love spells, it will do vanishing spells, it will bless, it will draw. I mean, it just does it all. It does everything. Rosemary is the herb that does it all. So if you're looking for an herb that does everything so that you don't have to buy a million herbs, rosemary is the herb to get. Another herb that's really good to get, that's easy to get and does quite a few different things, is basil. For years I worked with rosemary, basil, and thyme, and sage. For years, those are the only herbs I had because I couldn't afford to go, get a starter kit even. So I worked with rosemary, basil, sage, and thyme, and parsley, because they were over the counter, because they were herbs that you could get out of a store, and they had properties to them that were appealing to me, and I could use them, and I could get them easily. They had easy access. Same thing with chili peppers, but I didn't learn about chili peppers until, oh my gosh, it was years later. So I really just used kitchen herbs because I didn't know any better. I'm going to do rosemary next. In fact, let's just talk about rosemary, since that got brought up. I just passed it, so it'd be a good one to talk about. Rose, Mary should be next. It is. And this page is full because rosemary has so many things to it. So let me tell you just a little bit about like the shortcuts I have here. Protection, love, lust, mental powers, youth, divination, purification, healing, sleep, exorcism, banishing, blessing. I mean, those are just the shortcuts. That's what rosemary does. It does it all. It does everything. It enhances spells. It does everything. Rosemary is just a good go-to. I'm not going to be able to get it back in with that cut. Let me cut this open more, because I'm not going to be able to get that jar back in here. And I have little clips that I keep on my bags. And I know this one can't go back in the jar, but that's okay, because I have all these bags I might as well use. So this is my rosemary jar. Yeah, rosemary. Kind of interesting. Over-the-counter herbs. I know, I can't believe I said that. And my God, I love the smell of rosemary. And rosemary and lavender together, an amazing combination. Rosemary and basil together. And if you grind the rosemary in a mortar and pestle, or even a coffee grinder that you use for herbs, and then you mix it with basil and use a loose incense mixed with it, oh my Lord, it smells so good burning. It smells so good burning. My husband, when I burn it, always says, it smells like you're cooking something, stop it, because it makes him hungry. He loves my loose incense, but it always makes him hungry. So yeah, rosemary is the all-around herb, and you know what? I'm gonna put my ground rosemary in here too, even though it's ground, it's not hard to grind for me. I mean, I like my mortar and pestle, and I like grinding herbs, so I'm just gonna mix them. I don't want to put that jar back up there. So that's rosemary. Now let me read you everything about it. Rosemary, when burned, emits a powerful cleansing and purifying vibration, and so is smoldering it to rid a place of negativity. Put in a pillow. It's good for nightmares and brings peaceful sleep. It also purifies the sleeping area. It brings youthfulness when you bathe in it. Healing poppets are stuffed with it. I use it in all my healing poppets, by the way. Rosemary is a good healer. See, I use these little clips to clip my bags with. I hope you can see it. These little clips. They work really well for clipping bags and keeping everything in there. They're not great for airtight. In fact, I may put this bag in a Ziploc big bag that I have. I might put both of those big ones in there. Healing poppets. I can't read my own writing. Oh, it's kept with juniper berry in a sick person's room to help heal. To receive knowledge, you burn it on charcoal. Let's see, it's good for the circulatory system, digestive system, nerve stimulation, headache, depression, and halitosis. So you can chew it, and it'll help with bad breath. It drives away nightmares. It counteracts bad spells. It improves memory. It increases clarity. Good for meditation, in other words. It helps with memory. You know, I'll know I need that. It's associated with the fae and fairies. It helps with friendships. I know that because I've used it. If you have a friendship on the rocks with someone, or you're having disagreements or arguments, or it's like you're just not clicking, rosemary in a sachet spell or a loose incense spell works really well. It's good for emotional health and a great substitute for other herbs. Rosemary. Good stuff. Okay. If I do this one, I have to dig out a big pot. I'm just not going to dig it out right now because we're on live, so. Oh, I found a copy of Scott Cunningham. Yes. Okay, that's where most of my information in my apothecary book came from, was the Herbal Encyclopedia. Also, the other book I show, I don't know if you've seen it. It's called The Encyclopedia of Magical Ingredients. It's by Lexa Rosian. Lexa Rosian. It's a great book. I think you can probably find it on Amazon. I keep saying I'm going to check, but I keep forgetting. It's an older book, but it lists everything, and I mean not just plants, but everything. Items, sand, chocolate. I don't know if you watched my video the other day with the motivation jar, but I used newspaper, and that's where I got that from. It's success, represents success, and a few other things, but that's why I used it in that spell. It just lists a lot of different things. It's a good book. It's a really good book to have. So coffee. Coffee is a great, great, great magical ingredient, believe it or not. It's coffee. It's just plain coffee. It doesn't have to be anything special or extravagant. I buy the cheap stuff, the cheapest stuff I can get for my magic, because coffee has gotten so expensive, it's ridiculous. It's like lavender. I need to smell it. I told you, lavender and coffee, right? Okay, so coffee speeds up spells. Coffee is a motivator. Coffee is, it's a stimulant. So it does everything that you would expect a stimulant to do. If you are using it in an elixir or a tincture, I use it in a weight loss tincture. I use it in a motivation tincture. I used it in an energy tincture because it does all those things. I use it in spells for a motivator. I use it in spells to speed things up. I used it in my motivation jar. I don't know if I have any more information on it than that. I think I pretty well covered everything, but I'll look. But it's an all-around good coffee. Health, healing, grounding, hex breaking. Dispels nightmares. Didn't remember that. Negative thoughts, good for fevers, good offering. So yeah, I knew that. It's a great offering. I have a whole jar of coffee on my ancestor altar. Whose ancestors didn't drink coffee? It's a great thing to offer your ancestors, especially. I don't know that goddesses and gods really drank coffee, but I know our ancestors drank coffee. They practically lived on it. I know my parents did, and I know my grandparents did. I'm pretty sure most of our ancestors did. My aunts and uncles that are hanging on my wall. My other aunts and uncles that are working in the cotton fields in my other picture, they all drank coffee. So I keep an offering of coffee on my ancestor altar. It clears blockages, knew that, forgot that. Use in creativity spells. Let's see, lust, peace, curse, and hex breaking. Cursing and hexing, speeds up spells, cleanse, I knew that. It cleans divinatory tools, and I knew that because it's in my altar wash. So if you are making an altar wash, and you know, maybe I'll do a video on altar washes, because they should contain coffee. An altar wash is made of alcohol and water. Alcohol meaning rubbing alcohol, like 90% rubbing alcohol. I'll just say it real quick. You mix some coffee and some other herbs. No, I'll do a video. Anyway, you mix coffee with other herbs, and you let it sit like you would a tincture but it only has to sit for a couple of days. Some people only let it sit overnight because it's alcohol. It really leaches your herbs, so you don't need to let it sit forever. And then you strain it, and you strain it through one of these little strainers like this, and then you pour it into a bottle, and that's your altar wash. And it cleanses, it purifies, depending on what the herbs are that you put in it. But coffee is a great divinatory wash. So I also use it for all my divinatory tools, my pendulums. I wash my boards with it. It's great. It's a great herb. And I am not going to put this in a baggie because I have another big jar that it goes in, and I will have to kind of split it up. So there's no sense in me doing that right now. So I'm just going to set that back up here. Okay, that was coffee. Let me catch up on chat. Yeah, one of my favorite references too. Again, that's where I got a lot of my information. Yeah, lots of medical recipes. I have another book up there with a lot of medical recipes. You need more rosemary in your life. You're like me. I have the terriblest memory. I'm just terrible. I can't remember things from yesterday, and I'm being honest. Chocolate covered espresso beans. Oh my Lord, I could eat those for days. But they get me. Now I drink coffee all day long. I'm being honest. I drink coffee all day long. My one true addiction is Jack in the Box, large mocha, ice mochas. I love them. They are my one true addiction. And when I have to run errands like yesterday all day long, I get my mocha. That is my treat for having to do all the work. They are $3.43 after taxes. They're way cheaper than Starbucks. They're way cheaper than Java Detour. And they are my favorite coffee. They are 24 ounces of love. I love them. And other than espresso beans, I can't live without them. Anyway, they don't jack me up. And I could drink 2-3 of those a day. And I'm not joking. And I drink coffee all day long. But you give me espresso beans, chocolate covered espresso beans, and I am just tremoring. I don't know why, but they really get you going now, don't they? They really get me going. Oh, really? Coffee essential oil. Now, I've never heard of that. I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds delicious. Hi, Jenna. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you. I do remember when only adults drank coffee, but I will be honest with you. I'll tell you a little secret. My son, my youngest son, had ADHD, and they wanted so badly to put him on medication, and I just wasn't having it because I didn't want him labeled. And I'm getting warm. That's a good thing. I didn't want him labeled as having ADHD because back then it was, back when when they diagnosed my son with it, everybody was being diagnosed with it. And I felt like it was kind of a catch-all, and that they were just, it was just one of those diagnoses they were throwing around, and I didn't want my son to be labeled. So I saw a different doctor, and his name was Dr. Bill, and we fell in love with him, and he was my children's doctor for years after that. But I asked him, was there anything that I could do that would be natural? Naturopath, forget it. And he said, coffee. He said, give your son a cup of coffee in the morning, give him a cup of coffee when he gets home from school, and give him a cup of coffee before bed. Before bed. And I was like, I can't imagine that this is going to help. This kid bounces off walls and you're telling me to give him coffee. And he said, stimulants work opposite with children. And I was skeptical as all hell. I'm not even joking. But I gave my son Justin coffee in the morning, coffee after school, and coffee at night, and it worked. It worked beautifully. It calmed him down. It kept him level. I mean level. It kept him where he wasn't bouncing off walls. I will say the cup after school didn't last through the whole time. So like around dinner time, he would get a little wiggy, so I would usually give him the cup at dinner time instead of at bedtime. And he normally slept okay, but a few times he woke up at like 2 in the morning and went to the neighbor's house asking for food. That did happen. But I did get to where I was giving him a cup in the morning, a cup in the afternoon when he got home from school, and then a cup after dinner a little bit later, but not at bedtime, and that seemed to work okay. But just so you know, coffee works opposite on children. It works really well. Yeah, it's a great cleansing wash, Lilacs. It's really a good cleansing wash, and uh, I'm not exaggerating. It really works well. It cleanses everything well, and gives it a protection, and gives it a clarification. It's just a great wash. And I actually learned that from an old witch that I had met when I lived in Northern California, but more south. I met her, and she taught me to use coffee as a wash. And she only used coffee. She literally would take a cold cup of coffee and use coffee as a wash. I use coffee liquid instead of water. I use the coffee liquid and alcohol instead of water. It's just easier than trying to strain coffee through a strainer, but with the herbs. But she just used coffee as the wash. She didn't use alcohol or herbs or anything. She just used coffee. I like to add herbs and enhance it, but to each his own. Same here. Living, you mean with the coffee and your kids? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, Jenna. Love you. Have a good day. Espen, God bless you. Welcome. Goddess bless you. Welcome. I'm so happy to see you. I hope you got some rest. Wow, living. Never thought of that. Can you believe that never crossed my mind? I told you I need more rosemary. That never, ever crossed my mind. I'm going to remember that because that never once crossed my mind. And you could actually just use a small pot, so you don't have to make a whole pot of coffee. You could just use a small pan and do it that way. And then use a coffee filter to strain it through your strainer. Damn, that is a great idea, girl. Hi, Whispering, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Trust me, we haven't got too far. We've been doing a lot of chatting. All right, let's do calendula next, because I'm in the C's anyway, so it'll be easier. Calendula is a great one. Cascarilla. We'll get to that too. For those of you that don't know, that is eggshells. Where is my... Some of these are not in alphabetical order, as you can tell. Calendula. Here we go. Okay. My shortcuts on it are protection, prophetic dreams, legal matters, psychic powers, spiritual powers. I personally use it a lot for divination. It's in my divination box. I don't know if I've ever shown that, but I think I did in my divination video. I keep it in my divination box along with dandelion because it works really well with divining. Not so much spirit work, but with bringing you the power of sight, I guess, or what my grandmother would have called the knowing. ESP, sort of, I guess, for a lack of a better word. So in my book it says, in a sachet under the bed they protect you and make your dreams come true and give you prophetic dreams. I personally put them in dream pillows, and if Maritime were here, she could tell me how that works for her. They're in my daughter's dream pillows, but she is not here at the moment, so I can't ask her. They're especially in, oh, I knew that. People use them to discover who robbed them. So you can do a spell if you've had something stolen from you, and supposedly it will So you do the spell on a certain person, and it can divine whether or not you've been stolen from that person. So you can use like a pendulum. This person, I believe, stole from me, yes or no. Like set it in the middle of your pendulum board or something to that effect. And I have never researched that fully, but it would be something worth looking into if you've had that situation. Incense for divination. Brings talent to an artist. Yes, it's good for creativity in incense. Good for Samhain rituals, I knew that. And for those including ancestor work, I knew that. Forgot it, but knew it. It's good for luck and money matters. I have it in my money box. It's an antifungal, an antibacterial, an antiseptic, and you can eat the seeds for visions. I would not recommend that. I do not know if it's poisonous or not, so you please don't try that recommended on my video, because I do not know how safe that is. And the tea will strengthen love. That I knew. I didn't know about strengthening love, but I knew you could drink it in a tea. So that's calendula, and it is a beautiful, beautiful flower. I use it in my offerings to Hecate. She likes flowers, or at least my version of Hecate likes flowers. I use roses, I use calendula, I use chamomile, and I use lavender, all as offering to her. I have a little bundle that I keep on the altar of flowers. You can use it as an offering to most goddesses. Most goddesses are going to enjoy flowers. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's about the extent of my knowledge. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting tired. Not tired from the video, but tired because I was up so late last night, and should not have been, especially with today coming. But I had a lot to do, and I was trying to do some packing, and I'm trying really hard to get caught up. My new moon work helped, though. Honestly, I was kind of dreading today up until, and I'm still a little sad that I have to do it because I don't want to pack my stuff, but at the same time I'm not, I'm doing it. So that's, I can feel my my gizzard shaking. I'm doing it, and that's progress, because I have been putting it off for so long. And I think my new moon work really helped, because I've been doing some other things too, and the motivation jar. So, I'm dropping it. So, it was a good thing, and I hope you guys did some new moon work too, because it's good stuff. The new moon really helps with motivating yourself and getting rid of, to letting go and moving on and so on. So I used it, and it really did help. So I hope it worked for you. I'm going to pack this down a little because my bag is pretty full. Again, that company that I order from that's very inexpensive is called Monterey-based Spice Company. They're out of Watsonville, California, and they're online. And again, they only sell by the quarter pound and the pound, but they are so inexpensive. Their quarter pounds run anywhere from $1 something to $8. And the $8 was for mandrake, so still a good price. But I think for this calendula, I paid for this, and this bag was a lot bigger, but I think I paid $4 something, maybe $5, for this big bag of calendula. It's just a good price. I'm going to catch up. Night, Espen. Love you, dear. Hi, Dirt Farmer. Welcome. Bless you for coming. I appreciate it so much. Okay, we're going to move on. Next is Damiana. We'll do some Damiana. My Damiana is very finely ground. And that wasn't intentional. I did not get this from the Monterey-based Spice Company. I actually got this from, and this is a high recommendation to you folks. I get a lot of my herbs from the, trying to think of the proper way to say it. The Hispanic food stores sell such herbs, and at a very inexpensive price. I paid 99 cents for each for 4 bags, and it put that much in my jar. 99 cents each for 4 bags, so it was $4 for that much Damiana. And it was local. I didn't have to wait for shipping. I didn't have to pay for shipping. It was right there. By the way, the shipping at Monterey-based Spice Company is like $7.20, and that's for any order. Can't beat that. So Damiana, Lust, Love, and Visions is my shortcut. Used in all forms of lust infusions and spells, burn for visions. Add an extraction to red wine or tea. Drink hot or iced to increase sexual stamina. Sex magic in tea form. Enchants a male lover. Enhances passion, sexual performance, and can be smoked for vision. Use caution. I do not recommend smoking any herbs. I've heard others do that, but I have never personally done it, so I don't recommend it. Because I have no personal experience in it, I don't recommend anything I don't have personal experience in. And that's just I don't want to recommend something I haven't done because I don't know whether it's good or not. If you guys have personal experience in it, talk amongst yourselves. But I don't, so I don't want to recommend it. And it's great used for hangovers in tea form. And the reason I'm reading a lot about this one is because it's new to me. I haven't worked a lot with Damiana. I've read a lot about it, but I've never worked with it. So that one gets to go in its jar because I don't have a bag for it. For those of you that are late, we're putting them in bags and then back in the jars because I had a dream that the glass broke when I packed them and it ruined my herbs. So that's why they're going in baggies. Okay, next. We're moving on. Let me catch up right quick. Oh, I'm so happy for Sharon. And I've still got a candle going for her. Bless you, Aspen. I hope you sleep well, dear. Sleep well. Okay, next we're going to do, I'm going to pull a couple out so I don't have to keep jumping up. If you wonder, anybody, about where I get my jars, the majority of my jars come from the dollar store. A lot of them come from thrift stores, but the majority of them come from the dollar store. You can get every size there so inexpensively. I mean, $1 for a good jar is pretty much can't beat it, especially when you're going on spice sites and looking at the prices of jars. $1 for a jar is great. This is rue. It's a stemmy. At least mine is very stemmy. Again, I got this from the Hispanic food shop, and I paid 79 cents a bag for this, and this is 2 bags. And I will tell you about rue. Again, it's new to me. I haven't used it a lot, so I will have to read most of it. Won't be able to give you a lot of personal experience. Healing, health, mental power, and love. Those are my shortcuts. Rue leaves on a headache, relieve it. Warn, it helps recuperate from illness. It wards off future ailments. You can add it to poppets for increased healing. Oh my gosh, that's good to know. I use a lot of poppet healing. Bathe to break hexes and curses. Toads have an aversion to rue. Ah, I love toads. Rub it on a green candle on a full moon to summon money. Okay, that's good to know because I keep a money candle burning all the time, especially lately because we're trying to get to Texas and that takes money from California. It restores health when added to a bath. That's what I have on the roof. And that information came from the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs from Scott Cunningham and from my Magical Ingredients book that I told you about. I'm hoping I can get this in here. Because like I said, it's really stemmy. And again, mine is. I don't know that all rue is like that because this is the first rue I've ever had. I've never had it before. Rue, R-U-E. Ooh, stay there, feather. This feather is actually my buddy's. My buddy is my husband. This is actually his, and it was made for him by my sister-in-law. And it's got a little piece of real turquoise on there. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, let me get close. Little piece of turquoise. It's wrapped in leather, and it's a smudging or healing feather. And I use it for my smudging. I want to show you one, though, that I have. That's just gorgeous, and I use this for healing. This is a hawk feather. Isn't that beautiful? You don't even get to see the tans in it. That's too bad, because the colors in it are just astounding. And this one has a shell on it, a mother of pearl, and a crystal and a bead. Crystal point. Anyway, this I use for healing, and I don't know if you know, I'm going to have to do, oh, piece came off. I'm going to have to do a video about my healing techniques because I do a lot of healing. Not just crystal healing, but a lot of different healing from my BA at the Yogananda Institute. I learned a lot of different healing techniques, and maybe I'll have to do a video with my daughter as a stand-in so that I can show you some of the things that you can do as far as hands-on type healing and feather healing and other types of healing. Maybe we'll do a video like that. Rue is your favorite herb? Heather? Night, Espen. What I miss, guys? I don't know what happened. Am I still alive? Or did I lose you?